Time to learn, build a new skill, and make something beautiful. On the menu today is this lovely link that can be used for all your jewelry projects. This can be a connector, a link. The other day I got an order for the infinity bracelet that we did a tutorial on several weeks ago. And as I was fooling around with the actual how the infinity link is formed, I started asking myself, what would happen if I kept the arms long and then just wrapped them around the center for kind of like just a different look. It is kind of on the lines of this bracelet that we also did a few weeks ago, but it's a little less involved and doesn't use so much wire, and it gives room for an organic look. You just go with the flow. It doesn't have to be so precise. And so it works faster too. So that's what I really loved about this link. Here I have it demonstrated in, this is 16 gauge. I just love everything in 16 gauge. In 18 gauge, this was better. And then I started off in 20 gauge. I wanted to see where, which way should I go? Does it need to stay around this, or should it go heavier? And I felt personally like it should go heavier. Now I think 20 gauge is going to be good for earrings, especially if you want to mount a stone in there. It's still going to have the look, but it's going to be light on the ears. It's going to be less fussy, less materials involved, and you're going to be able to make something so lovely for you, for your man. Have matching bracelets. Everyone's always seems to be looking for that, and I'll show you how to make this very simple clasp that matches the rest of the look. What we're going to be using today is kind of simple. The 6-step veil making pliers, flush cutters, 2 chain nose pliers, and obviously you're going to need a ruler. I do have out all the wires that I used, but I'm going to show you in 16 gauge. All my wires are dead soft. Special treat for today. Since this doesn't take too much instruction, I'm going to take you a little further, and I'm going to show you how you can get this lovely shine on your final products. What you want to put out for your Christmas gifts. You don't want to send things out that are nicked and roughed up. I'm going to show you what I do to finish the product and make your piece just shine and glisten and give it a professional look, a finished look. So you're going to want to stick around to see how I show you how I use my Radial polishing discs. And also, many of you asked about the tumbler that I used. I'll put a picture up here of what that is and see how it just really, it softens all the edges, it polishes it just wonderfully, and takes a lot of the work out. That's what I love about a tumbler. I'm pulling out some wire and just polishing it down right on the spool. That's going to make it easier. This also does some pre-work harding. I see how I kind of arc it back and forth, and this is going to do some pre-hardening of the wire and get us ready for a nice sturdy link that's still flexible and still easy to create this lovely link. For each one of these links that measures, let me get my ruler. One of these links I'm going to show you in 16 gauge. So I'll show you how long it is. It is roughly ½ an inch or so. I use about 4 inches of wire, but as I worked through it, I think you could get by with less. But since we're starting, this might be something new for you. Just cut yourself 4 inches of wire, and that gives you the flexibility to make it bigger. If you like something that's more open, something you can put a stone in, maybe something even varied. Look at this one that with the one is smaller than the other. I thought that would be great for earrings. So just start with 4 inches, and as you get comfortable with it, you could probably move down to 3.5 inches and create this link. Measuring out 4 inches, and it doesn't need to be flush cut because both ends are going to be trimmed anyway. I'm going to pull out some more while I'm at it. And just cut right from this piece that we already measured out. Just makes your work a little easier. So nice. You don't have to do any flush cutting. It's going to be so easy just to bust out your lengths of wire. I do like that about this. I'm going to cut one more, and I'm just going to duplicate this, the one that I made in sterling silver. I'm going to make it in the 16 gauge. Just finish off what I already started. And then I'll show you the polishing process that I do. Maybe it's not the best, maybe I don't know, but I have found that it works for me, and I achieve the finished final product that I'm looking for. All right, you know I love these. This is what I'm using to create the loops on the end. You only need but so much to wrap this first loop. Maybe an inch, maybe leave you an inch on the side. And I'm going to be wrapping around the third step, which on my pliers is 4 millimeters. Just press on around near the bail. This makes, once you get to a certain part, it gets a little hard to keep pushing. So I'm always doing this. You're going to be seeing me move the wire around so I have more room to make my loop. I love these pliers just they almost turn into an extra hand of really holding it. Okay. I think that works. We're going to look for this little 90-degree angle here. Take it off your pliers, and this is where the 2 chain nose pliers come in. This is how I find that it works best. You may find something that's even better, and I love that. We're going to make 2 little loops underneath. We're just mounting this end of the loop. You won't even see this underneath. This is one way that this link is similar to this one that we made. This just doesn't use as much wire, and it has just a wonderful kind of organic feel to it. Because you just kind of go wherever the wire leads you in a way. Using that same third step, we're going to put it back on our pliers, set up like that. And now we're going to be taking this long piece and wrapping it around this way. It really is the beginning of very, very similar to that figure 8 infinity clasp design. It just is making use of these tails to create something a little more interesting in the middle. Taking it off. Oh, this is something I want to do. I almost forgot because I want to build on this chain. At this point, this is where you just connect. Slide what you built on so far. I like to hold it with these pliers. It just gets in there just a little better. And then I'll take, this one has the slightest little bit of groove on there, and I find that it holds it on there a little better. And this is where you come in. This is how you want it to look. We're creating this little wrap in the middle. You know, whatever happens kind of thing. Each one is going to be totally different and unique. And that's what I really like this. And how fast was that? It was so fast. Pinch down the edge. And we've made the first link here. I was going to work through that again so you definitely know what I'm doing. I mean, it really is simple. Third bail, which is 4 millimeters, leaving about an inch on the end, and pressing around near the bail. You see how I just turned that wire? I'm always turning it so I have better access to making the loop. That's about what I'm going for. And just anchoring on this first loop. And I'll get on there and press it down and twist at the same time. Trim off what little excess there is. Now you can wrap it all around if you want. It's just going to make the center of the link thicker. That's all. Going back to our 6-step to bail making pliers. Getting it like that so we can take this long piece and wrap again around that 3rd step. Bringing it on around just like an infinity symbol. Like I said, I will leave the link to that other video if you'd like to see that one as well. And to this bracelet, love it. Oh my goodness, I almost did it again. And it's gonna happen to you. You'll forget to connect. I just slid that on, opened up the loop there so it slid on very, easily. Pressing that back down. And just go where the wraps lead you. I love it. I love the doesn't need to be perfect look. They're like little ropes. I don't know, knots and things. It's a neat look. Easier, faster, and doesn't require as much material. Okay, see how it's a little not perfectly straight? You can go back through your chain that you're building, take your 2 chain nose pliers and just straighten and line up everything. All right, let's go ahead and add another one. I'm just going to work through this and build this whole chain until we're left with a length of wire where I can show you how to make. Okay, we've got a nice length of chain link going in for here. I mean, lovely. Isn't that lovely? Looks lovely now, but it's going to get even more lovely after I show you some polishing techniques using these and using the tumbler. We've come to our last length of 4 inches of what I'm using is 16 gauge, and we are going to add it right on this lovely chain we've made, and we're going to make this clasp. All right, when I showed you these links, I was showing you how you just need about an inch or so to make that first loop and just to anchor it to the wire. So this is the end that did all the work, and it kind of flips on us when we do the clasp. We're going to need room to make the loop and to make the wraps here, and just enough left to make the hook part. So I'm using the same step on the pliers, third, that's just 4 millimeters, too many numbers, and going around it with just as if we're making one of the links. A little bit different here. I'll come back in with the pliers And I want to make this part that comes out from the loop more like this 45-degree angle. The reason I do that is because if I didn't do this kind of look, if I didn't do it like that, the loop would be heavy on one end of the bracelet, and I want it a little bit more straight out from the loop. So what I did was created this little bend here to make the loop bend back. So now it's coming out pretty much straight from the loop. Now this is the part when we did these that you just keep on wrapping, and you go to the other side to make that wrap. But this is where it gets mounted to, it gets added to the bracelet. Well, the storage just ran out on my phone, so I had to delete a couple things. At this point, this is where it get attached to your length of chain, whatever you're working on. Pressing that back down and holding with chain nose pliers, we're going to put at least 2 wraps. I'm going to do 3. Who doesn't love wrapping? Such a nice little feature. And trim off the excess. Press that down, smooth it down. Not to worry, we're going to do even some more processing of that and make it smooth and shiny, and I'm going to show you all about how I do that. All right, I had to remember how I did this. Okay, so I held it. Just grab that whole little wrapping and bend backwards. Take your round nose or your chain nose, and I think I went to the 4th step to make the hook part, just to make it a little bit bigger. Wrap it in there like that. Make sure it's nice and straight, and just press on around until you've got it looking like this. At this point, I just kind of trim maybe to the bottom of the wrappings. Trim that little bit. Now we're left with just this little, the cutest little spot to make this. You can do this with the round nose pliers or chain nose. I'm just grabbing what's here, and that's what I'm doing. Here's where my handy dandy nail file comes in to smooth this end out. We're going to go a little further beyond just making the piece. I'm going to show you what I do to really clean it up. After making this clasp and we have shaped the end of this hook, I'll go through each of these links and anything I feel that is super rough, if there is anything, very hard nicks or scratches. This tip is pretty aggressive, and it's going to take out any of these scratches. And I'll just work down the whole length of the chain. That is the first basic step that I will take. This, I've mentioned this before, this is just a manicure, a nail filer thing that I picked up at Marshall's. It came with, oh, I don't have my little box of tips. It came with a box that had a lot of different tips on it to do filing for your nails, and I find it so handy dandy and easy to do quick when you really got some scratches and gouges you need to take out. But the next step, if you are interested in taking your piece to the next level, you can pick up one of these. I got this off of Amazon. Rio Grande also has a lot of options on this, but these seem to work pretty well, and it runs from like an 80 grit all the way up to this 2500 grit. Now, I don't use all of them. I kind of have some selected already. I'll start with this green one, and then the blue, then the red. Oh, where my gray one is. Oh, where's the gray one? What do I do with the gray one? I don't know. Oh, here it is, the gray one. And I'll just run through these if I'm really looking for extra. You know, I really want to finish my piece. So I'm going to show you how I do that right now. I'm going to pop on this green one. Now, when you get this, it'll show you that you need to make sure that you are putting on these radial discs in the correct direction. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue. Before I forget to mention it, I'm also wearing protective glasses. There's lots of little bits that come flying off as you're doing this. And it's weird how these little plastic things do work, but they really get in there and help remove the abrasions just from working through your project. And I find that these are really good for these wraps and things that we have made, because it's going to get right down in between each of these wires. Really, really good for that. So I'll do it's the same process working through each of these discs. I forgot to mention I'm using a Dremel tool. This is like old as the hills. They make newer, better ones, but you know, if it ain't broke. So that is the first level of really getting in there and removing scratches. And I will progressively just work through these, and then I will show you the ultimate finishing power of the tumbler. One thing I forgot to mention, that you really, when you're working with chain, you really want to hold this so that the Dremel or whatever you're using doesn't happen to grab it. You really want to hold this firmly so it's not going to get caught. Okay, we've moved over on into my kitchen where I'm going to show you the tumbler. I love this tool. I kind of discovered it just this past summer, and it really has eliminated a lot of what I was just showing you with the radial filers and sanders. That is a long and arduous process. It is, but I don't know if you can tell from this or not how this is somewhat shiny compared to this one that came out of a tumbler. It's going to be hard to pick up on the camera, but it is clearly polished, it's smooth, it's shiny, and that's what this is going to do, this tumbler. So I will have this linked down below, as well as this other stainless steel shot that I bought for it. It came with its own stainless steel shot, but it wasn't as the best steel that you could get. So I will have this that I purchased. I'll have it linked down below as well. And it's super easy. You just take your shot, load it in, take your piece or pieces. I have put multiple pieces in here at once. And then what I'll do, I'll put just a squirt of some Dawn dish liquid. and fill it up maybe 2/3. There wasn't really specific instructions on do this, don't do that kind of thing, but I find that this is okay. So you have a little piece down in there. It comes with a lid. It has kind of like a rubber gasket, so you're not going to have leaks. And this bar that it anchors on there slides from one, oh, I got it going the wrong way. It's a bit of a Rubik's Cube. And then you just tap it down, place it on these rollers, and I'll turn it off first before I turn it on. I've been using this level 4, and I'll do it for an hour. Turn it around to 60 minutes, and it can do, it has like an oscillating directional feature on it, where it'll go one direction for a certain amount of time and then flip the other way. So that's what the 2 bars on here, this means. And so just get it going. I'll show you what it looks like in an hour. Okay, it's been an hour, and we're going to see what our finished product looks like now that it's all been polished. Just pour off the whole bit into a strainer. Giving it a good rinse. And just pour it out. This is what I do. It may not be the best, but this is what I do. And then you can already see the peaks of our lovely finished product that is way shinier than it was before. It is just glistening and shining and is so sparkly, smooth. This little hook clasp is just smooth on every end. This is just the way to go. Another special feature that I have learned about recently is that when you run this for an hour or more, you are also work hardening your piece, because it is, for that length of time, it is getting constantly boom, 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 hit with this barrage of shot, and is strengthening your piece. So that's extra special for your necklaces, bracelets, and things like that, where you want that strength in it. I mean, I can feel the strength. This is a very strong link. I can feel that the loops, I can feel that these loops are nice and strong. You can go back to this hook. I cannot even bend that with a bare hand. So it is nice and strong. What a great way to finish your piece and make it strong all at the same time. And if you want to take your final piece to the final level, this is a great product. It's called Protectaclear. This is a liquid where you can apply with a brush, you can apply with a Q-tip, or it also comes in a spray. I would love to try that out eventually, but I've got a lot to go through. This is going to take a long time to go through, and it's great. You can apply 1 to 3 coats to it, and it will, especially for copper. Of course, everything else tarnishes, but we all know copper especially tarnishes. It's going to give it that, it will keep it in this lovely shiny state for as long as possible, and just protect the shine as well. So this is something else that you could invest in. If you're ready to that, you're in that place where, I really want my pieces to look professional and make them as best as they can be. So I would look into the Radial discs, I would look into the Tumbler, and I would look into Protectaclear and find out what works for you, your budget, and what your goals are. Again, another great tutorial, and a little different. We got to go a different room and explore some different options to make your piece extra special and extra beautiful. I'll see you next week.